let's get into this because I don't want to make this video too long. How to yoga is a mindset that's different than how to do yoga. I, on purpose, took out the do part because that's a different mindset. I mean, you could say it like that, but that's a different mindset, and it's a good mindset because you're trying to teach others how to do something, which is perfectly okay. I don't want to take that away from anyone or any teacher of how that's how they teach, and that's part of yoga too. You know, there's different teachers, different styles. We're all together, but we all have different styles and different ways we approach yoga. So some people like how to do yoga and how to do the perfect pose and how to focus on the body, and that's great. Now, the way I teach yoga and the way I was taught and the way I taught myself yoga was to learn it as a mind and body unity. So yoga technically means when the mind and body are one. That is yoga. So no matter if you're doing the textbook pose or what you think the textbook pose is, if your mind and body are connecting, no matter how that pose looks or how you think that pose should look, you're doing yoga. The way I teach yoga is that we're trying to learn these specific qualities on the mat, such as acceptance. So you're doing the pose the best you can do it, whatever. That's not a pose. I don't know what that was. You're doing the pose the best you can do it. And then you're accepting where you are. And you're focusing on the breathing during the pose. Now, that focus on the breathing is what allows the mind and body to connect as one. And if your mind and body are connecting as one, then you're doing yoga. Now, this is the important part. The mind and body are not connecting as one as two separate things. Rather, the mind and body are already one. And what you're doing is realizing the mind and body are one. You're realizing this oneness, that everything's one. That's what you're realizing. The English language, for example, is just separates. I mean, language separates things anyways, as, that tree, well, it's not a tree right there, it's a fence, but that fence is over there, that language separates me and that fence. And that's what we're trying to erase in yoga, this separation and realizing everything is one. And that's what we're learning on the mat, this oneness. So again, yoga is when the mind and body are one and you're realizing they're already one. And you do that by focusing on the breathing. So when you're in a pose, for example, you go into the pose, you settle in the pose, wherever that may be, your own guru, and you accept where you are, and then you focus on the breathing, and your mind and body become one. So if you're doing that, no matter how the pose looks, no matter how you think the pose should look, you let that go. And you have this mind and body unity. And this is what you're learning on the mat. So when you're doing these yoga poses, after your yoga routine, that's what you've learned on the mat, this oneness, this acceptance, non-judgment. You're not trying to be somewhere. You're not trying to control. You're accepting. And essentially what you're doing is accepting who you are. So when you go in the real world and you're, say, driving down the street, if your mind and body is connected to that activity, then you're doing yoga. If you're at home, and I say this all the time, but when you're at home and you're washing the dishes, if your mind and body is connected to that activity, then you're doing yoga. Washing the car, You want to be in the present moment. That's what it essentially boils down to. So you're talking to your wife. Be there. Talking to your boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, whatever. Whatever you're doing, if your mind and body is connected as one, you're with that activity, then that is yoga.